Hi, and welcome back to Mom and Four Boys. This is Tommy. Today is Memorial Day, so 2024. The very first thing I want to do is I want to say thank you and God bless you to all the veterans and to all those that are lost. My mother and father included. My parents were both in Korea and in the Air Force. So love you, Mom and Dad. Thank you for your service, everybody. And today we are going to replace the entire brake system on our 2017 Jayco 33R travel trailer that you see us use on the channel. And so I went and was just going to check the bearings and realized that 3 out of the 4 seals on my brakes had been blown by somebody pumping too much grease into these easy lube things, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. So we're going to get right into it, and I'll comment on all the different things as we go. I did order 4 brand new hub and brake assemblies off of Amazon. I'll have Rachel try to put the link in there as to what they are. They were $434 for all 4 wheels. And that's very good. If your brakes have any grease on them at all, don't try to reuse them. I wouldn't put a new backing plate with the brakes on with the same hub. Some people might, but I'm not that person. I want them mated. So they come mated from the when you buy them. There'll be 4 boxes. Each one has a wheel or has a hub and a brake assembly in it. And so we're going to go ahead and get this off of here. It's very easy. I've never done it before, but I did loosen this one up so I could know what I was talking about. But we're going to show you just how fast you can get one of these brake systems replaced. The hardest part of this job for me is probably going to be resoldering the wires and reconnecting the brakes. So that's probably going to be the hardest part. Other than that, it's just elbow grease and pretty easy. So let's get into it. All right. The first thing you want to do is just take a dead blow hammer, if you have one, and you're going to just hit around this cap here until you and just tug on it until you work it off. You're not going to reuse it because your kit comes with new bearings and a new cap. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to pull your cotter pin out. If you don't have a cotter pin, you'll probably have a D ring. Your axle might have a D shape here, and so you'll have a washer that will have a D in it. You'll also have a clip that will go over your nut that will also have a D shape to it. I don't. I have a cotter pin. So I've taken the cotter pin out. Your castle nut should never be more than finger tight. So we're going to take this off. There's the Easy Lube Grease Zerk, which I will never use in my life. You don't need that much grease. So you just wiggle this. Your bearings will come out. Now, I've already wiped some of the grease off of these, but these are going to be very dirty and greasy. You want to save your washer and your castle nut. Discard the bearing because your new wheels or your new hubs and everything come with all inner outer bearings in the seal. What you're gonna do is just work this off of here. This is your hub. If there's wear on the inside of your hub, you're gonna want to replace it. I'm not gonna try to repair or turn anything like that, but there's grooves in this one. There's grooves inside of here where the electronic brake is rubbed up against it, and where there's I can see that my brake shoe over here is a little disintegrated. That's probably what caused the grooves, was a piece going in there. So that's not going to really matter because we're getting rid of all this. So let's move this out of the way. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to grab a rag here, paper towel. I'm going to try to wipe some of this grease off of here. So there's a lot of theories on the internet about how much grease to put in. This is not a boat trailer, so I'm not going to pack this thing full of grease when I'm done. I'm going to grease the spindle some, and then I'm going to pack the bearings with a bearing packer that I bought, which I'll show you. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is I cut these wires. I went ahead and cut them. You're going to just want to cut these wires and save as much as you can. I like to try to get this out of here and push it through. This is this side. The other side, the wires go into the axle, they come out on this side. So you definitely don't want to pull any of that too far through. Okay, so I'm going to pull this wire out of here. These are, let's see what the size they are, 9/16. Hold the backing plate on. Let me get these off of here. Like I said, it doesn't take long. If you have to use a breaker bar to get it broke loose, that's fine. I've had this battery on my drill for a little while, so it could stand to be charged back up. Okay, these are gonna have to be broke loose. So when they go back on, they get torqued to 50 pounds. So that's what I have a torque wrench set at right now, but I'm going to use it just to break this last two loose. There's nothing to them. Where's the other one at? Right here. That's all it took, was just a little bit more than what my battery had on my drill. But don't lose any of those. Okay. I'm going to save those because the kit does not come with these nuts. Now watch this. Look at that. That's how easy that is. This goes right in the trash. Okay. And now you're going to want to wipe off your spindle. I'll use some brake cleaner on it here shortly, but this little bit of rust that's on here will come off. It's not pitted. You want to make sure there's not pitting or discoloration. That would say that your spindle on your axle had gotten really, really hot. And that's not good. You'd probably know that from a problem with your bearings squealing or whatever else, if that was going to be the case. All right, I'm going to get some brake cleaner and just clean this off real good, my spindle, and there's no signs of wear on it. So I think I'll be fine. I'm going to clean this off and we'll be back. All right, welcome back. I've got that spindle cleaned up, and I just used a little of this brake parts cleaner on it and a little elbow grease. No problem. Here's what your new brake system looks like. Make sure you have the right bolt pattern for your spindle. This is, I think, like a 42 spindle or a 46. I can't remember what it is. But I made sure before I bought these that I had the right ones. Make sure your wires aren't pinched. Your new wires. Don't want to pinch those behind there. Right? All right. There we go. We're just going to bolt this on and torque it. I'm not going to put any anti-seize or anything on these because they don't really seize up. They were fine. You want to always pay attention to which these brakes are per side. You want your bracket on the right here, this here, always to point to the front of the trailer, because as your wheel's turning this way, this is going to magnetize and it's going to pull backward like this. Always have this C shape or reverse C shape pointing towards the front of your camper. Probably do this a lot easier without this glove on, since these are clean. I'm hoping I'm staying out of the way here where you can see. The camera sort of is in my way for reaching over here to get to the right angle with my hand, but that's all right. You want to do your best not to get anything on your brake shoes. And for the value, there really is no point in trying to replace brake shoes, in my opinion. Especially when you have something as important as, you know, your family, or, you know, pulling your camper with your, behind a rig with your family in it like I do. And I'm just gonna get these on there just a little bit so that I know they're even. I'm gonna get behind here and just make sure I haven't pinched any of my wires. Okay, now my wires are pinched. I'm gonna go ahead and torque this, and that is going to be it for the installation of the of this backing plate. And the next step will be soldering the wires, and then we'll put the hubs on. Well, we'll grease the bearings, we'll put the hubs on, and put the wheels on, and adjust the brakes and everything. So this is all a new experience for me, but I've researched it quite a bit, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. So I don't have any expertise, I just have working knowledge of doing things myself. And that's all really most people need when you're talking about something like this. Again, man, thank you to the veterans. Gee whiz. So I can have this freedom to be able to make this video and do this, have time with my family, go visit my parents at the cemetery, and just honor all the veterans as much as I can. Okay, I'm gonna wipe this off one last time, and we will be back. All right, welcome back. So I'm getting ready to splice the wires together. I have this system here that I bought. These are heat and solder joints. You just twist the wires together, slide the connector over top, and then you heat it with, I bought this little heat gun that's pretty much made for this, and you heat it all the way around it until the solder joint melts. So I'm not an expert at this, but I'm gonna go ahead and try one for you. I'm hoping that it'll work. Okay, welcome back. I'm gonna go ahead and show you how I solder one of these joints. I've spliced I've stripped my wire, maybe like a ½ an inch. I want to be able to twist these around each other. I'm gonna go ahead and put my solder sleeve over there. I'm gonna twist these together like this, back opposite directions of each other. To get it like that, I'll slide the sleeve over top of it to where the solder is right over top of the wire. And I'm going to use my heat gun. And I'm going to go on each side for probably 20 seconds. And this will start to melt. It'll get shiny when it melts. The solder will seal, or will tin the wires the other inside, and it'll be a perfect solder joint. And then I'll seal up the sleeve on the outside. It's starting to melt now a little bit. I don't know if you can see that or not. We'll see here. This little soldering heat gun is fantastic. It's just made for this. I don't know if you can see that solder got shiny, so it melted. Now I'm going to go ahead and close up the rest of this heat shrink on both sides so that it seals around the wire really good. These are watertight. And there you have it. There's a perfect joint for your trailer brake. So we're going to finish the rest of these up, and we'll be back. All right, welcome back. Now here is, these solder joints are completed. I've taken and On the back of the backing plate of the brakes, there's a wire connector that you can pop loose, and it just put your wires inside of it and snap it back in to hold the wires in place and keep them from touching anything. And I'll just check them periodically to make sure they're in there good. I don't think I need any zip ties on this, so we're going to get on to the rest of them. We'll be back. All right, I'm going to spray this new hub with brake cleaner to get anything out of it from that was in it for the manufacturer, to keep it from rusting, and then I'll wipe it out and we'll be back. Hi, welcome back. Okay, I've got my hub sprayed out and cleaned with brake cleaner from all the residue. I've got my race greased in here with some red and tacky, and I'm going to show you how I pack my bearings, and we'll put the rear bearing in and the seal. Be right back. Okay, I've packed my bearing. I have this bearing packer. I think it's made by Swan Lake. It's like $15 on Amazon. And you put your bearing in the middle, you push down on it, and it forces grease out through the bearing. Then you take it out and you grease the outside of it really well, and you put it in. It's a very easy way to do this. So we're gonna get this out and put it in the on the rear race and get ready to drive our seal in. We'll be back. All right, welcome back. I've got my rear bearing packed and I've loaded up. I'm gonna go ahead and put it in the race here. Push it down just a little bit, and I'm gonna smooth this grease over top of the back of the bearing. And then we are going to get ready to drive our rear seal in. We'll take a little bit of this grease and we'll grease the lip on the rear seal, and we'll drive it in. Be right back. All right, I've put my bearing in. I've got plenty of grease in there on top of the bearing. I've laid my seal on, and then all you do is you start to tap until your seal starts to go in. You can't work it from one side to the other because you'll tip your seal, but just slowly until it catches, and then you can pound harder as you go around. That's what I do. And you want to drive the seal in until it's flush with this ring. One of the seals I drove it in about 1/16 of an inch too far, but I think it'll be fine. So now I'm going to go outside and put this wheel on, and we'll put the outer bearing in, and we'll show you what it looks like. Be back. All right, welcome back. I've got my hub seal in and the rear bearing in. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grease the spindle. I'm just going to put some of this on there. I know I'm going to get messy, but a light layer of grease on this all the way around. Really what you can get it to stay on it. You don't want it to get nothing to get on your electromagnet there, and nothing on your brake shoes. So you want to be careful with this. I grease the race real good for the rear bearing, and grease around here for your grease seal to go on. So our grease seal is going to go right up against there, right to there. We don't want any grass in our wheel. All right. Okay. I ran out of rubber gloves, but we'll be getting some more. Okay. So now I'm gonna very carefully put this on. I don't want to slide it. I don't want to lay it on here and slide it and take a, get the grease on the back of this. So I'm gonna look in here, make sure okay. I'm gonna force this on while I turn it a little bit, and you'll see it pop in. There you go. Yeah, that seal is on there. The next thing I'm going to do is going to take and pack some grease inside this front race here. and my bearing is already plenty greased. I'm gonna pack everything in here that I can. There's a lot of, like I said, a lot of different opinions on how full this cavity should be. It's not a boat, so the cavity doesn't need to be jam-packed with grease. The grease expands a little from what I've read when it gets hot, and you need room for that expansion in there. And you don't want to blow your rear seals out. That's I didn't blow them out, but somebody pumped so much grease into these grease zerks here that they blew the rear seals out, and here we are, not far from $500 later, just so that we can go camping. All right. Anything else that I can get in there, I'll get in there. I've got my bearing is all packed here in my bearing packer. I've already coated the outside really good. I'll slide this outer bearing on, and that'll go in flush like that. Okay, let's get a little of this grease off. 1 second, honey. Isaac wants to come and help, and we're going to put our D-ring on, or that's not a D-ring, our washer.
Okay, baby. Okay, honey.
Our castle nut.
Shut the gate so the dogs don't get out, please. Thank you.
So you want to turn this to seat your bearing. I'm going to get a pair of channel locks and tighten this up until it won't go, until I can't tighten the bolt anymore. Then I'll loosen it again, like this, a little bit. Give it a chance for the bearing to seat.
Yeah,
And the next thing I'm going to do is tighten this with a pair of channel locks until it's all the way tight. I'll spin it a little bit, back this off until I get to the very next opening to where I can get my cotter key in. Or, yeah, my cotter key. And then bend it over, put the dust cap on, and we'll be ready to check to see if the brakes need adjusted. You want a little bit of drag on your brakes when you want to hear a little bit of drag, not a lot, but a little bit. And then they shouldn't need too much adjusting electronically after that. So we'll be back. All right, welcome back. I've got my 4 hubs on, and if you can hear that drag, you want just about that much drag in your wheel. I'm gonna have to adjust one a little bit, and then we're gonna check the brakes out. We'll be back. All right, welcome back. Okay, I've got the dust caps on all of the new hubs, and getting ready to put the new tires on, and we're going to set it down, and I'm just so excited to see it with wheels on it again. I want to give glory to God that when I pulled the emergency brake pin, all 4 of the brakes locked as they're supposed to, and so that means they're on correctly. And I'm just thankful for that after all this work, that everything's turning out the way it should. So praise God for that. Anyway, we're going to put the wheels on, and we'll show you a little video walk around when we're all done. All right, welcome back. I've got all 4 wheels on now. The only thing I have left to do is to torque these to 125 pounds. I was going to put anti-seize on there, and everything recommends that the torques are for dry threads only. So I'm just going to take them loose about once a year and retorque them so that they don't seize on me. But anyway, we're going to torque these, and then we're going to have a little walk around. All right, welcome back. The brakes are on, the tires are on, everything's on, and I'm excited tomorrow to take it out and drive it on the road, get a feel for it. I'm sure it's going to pull like a dream, and I'm very excited about that. So this job I'm going to call done, and I'll be back in a little bit with a little commentary and some warnings and some things that I want you all to watch out for and be very careful of, especially when you're hauling your family, you know, and some things that were blessings to me that I didn't know that God was looking out for me. So Anyway, I'm glad this happened the way it did, and I'll be back. Hi, welcome back. I'm going to go ahead and give you some comments and tell you about the last part of the job of the trailer brakes. One of the things that I realized when I took the tires off to check the bearings, I realized that 3 out of 4 of my tires had cracks in them about 1/4 of an inch wide near the rear of the tread. You couldn't see it from the front. From the front, my tires looked new and they looked fantastic. I was didn't think I was going to have to replace those, but they were 6 years old, and had I not done that, we could have had a catastrophic accident on the freeway if a tire would have blown and the weight went down on the under tires. That would have been just an awful thing. So when your tires get about 6 years old, just replace them no matter what condition they appear to be in, because they can dry out from the inside, and from what I'm told, and it could really get somebody hurt. So I don't want that for anybody. Very, very blessed that I found that on my tires. I'm grateful and thankful for that. Let's see, my breakaway switch. So when I was testing the tires, I told you in the video that I pulled the breakaway switch and the 4 tires they locked the brakes, which was good. So I tested that again, and smoke started coming out of my breakaway switch because it had been sitting for so long and not taken out and in a couple of times, where some rust had formed in the bottom, even on the plastic, and it was kind of seized in there. So that was about $14, and it took me about 10 minutes to replace that. So I did that, and let me see here. The other thing that we realized, I put the brakes on, and then I did the video, and I said, I'm going to call this job done. Well, I took I had adjusted the brakes, I took the camper out, and I went to set my trailer brake, and I set my gain to about 6, and I squeezed the activator inside the truck, and it barely even activated the brakes. That's what it felt like. So I thought, well, maybe I need to readjust the brakes. So I put the camper in the driveway and got underneath it and adjusted all 4 brakes. And I really adjusted them out to where the wheel had some braking going on even while sitting. And I tried it again, same thing. I brought it back, I adjusted it even farther out to where my wheels probably only had 1/4 of a turn before the brakes stopped, and that's how far out I had them adjusted. And I thought maybe that was how it should be. And I tried it again, same thing. So I did some research and found out you have to burnish your brakes. Lippert Components and other manufacturers say that whenever you replace brake components, electromagnets, brake shoes on the drums, or entire brake systems, you have to burnish the brakes like you used to have to do in cars years ago. So you have to heat those brakes up enough to where they seat to where they're going to be used at, and also to burn that coating off from the manufacturing process. So we took the camper and hooked it up, and Rachel and I hopped in the camper, and we went for about a 40-mile drive. And so the burnishing process is you get to going to about 40 miles an hour and set your gain to 10. Use your activator inside the truck. No tow vehicle brakes at all. Just the activator in the truck. Squeeze it until it slows you down to about 20 miles an hour. Start the process again, drive 1 mile, do that again. And you need to do that 20 to 50 times, depending on however long it takes. And you'll know, believe me, you'll know whenever it has completed itself. But what you're doing is you want to get you want to try to get your brake drums and your system up to about 350 to 400 degrees, according to the manufacturer. And you can tell if it's really hot just by feeling around your wheel after you stop. But we wound up doing that process about, I don't know, maybe about 22 times, I think is about what we did it. And we were clear out of town. about 20, 20 some miles, 30 miles away, I don't know. And we hit that activator in the truck, and all of a sudden my brakes just all four of them were locked up on the truck. So I, half a second later I let loose of that and adjusted my gain down a little bit. We did it a couple more times, and they went from not working barely at all to, once that burnishing process and the seating process took place and they got heated up, they started to work like they should. And I've had my gain set at 3 to 3.5 is all the higher I can set it right now. So my brakes are amazing on the travel trailer now. It's just almost like it's not behind me whenever I'm stopping. That's how equally I can adjust it. So don't get discouraged whenever you do this job and your brakes don't seem like they're working. Rachel's going to attach a link for this Lippert component video from the manufacturer. If the link doesn't work, look up Lippert, Lippert component, brake burnishing, and you will find the video, and it will tell you exactly how to do it. So that was a blessing to me to find that. And so we've really completed the job. I've told you all the things about it, and I just feel blessed that it turned out the way it did after I was so discouraged about the brakes. So I just wanted to tell you that those safety tips about making fixing your trailer like that and your tires. And Isaac wanted to say hi. Say hi, Isaac.
Hi.
And so we just want to tell you, from our family to yours, have a great rest of your weekend and safe travels. And until the next time we see each other, God bless. Say God bless you.
God bless you.
Take care.
Take care.
You did a good job. I think that's a keeper.